So you got a chance to watch other people work. You were there at Masters of Horror when we were doing different directors before and after you, getting a chance to look at that. The interesting thing about directing is you don't normally watch other directors direct. Did you take anything in?
I only wanted to talk gossip with other directors, who was sleeping with whom, what's going on in the movie business. I don't care how they direct, it's all the same. Usually you come into a set and it's quiet and they're setting up something and no one's talking. The director's sitting there thinking or whispering to somebody. It's boring. Who wants to watch this crap?
I thought I was going to learn a lot when I started working on Amazing Stories as a writer. I was on the set, I was watching. The first thing I ever had produced, Martin Scorsese is directing it. And I learned that you don't learn on set. It all happens before.
That's right.
It all happens off the stage or in private. And
in private is the big thing.
Yeah.
So our director has a chance to get away from everybody with the script and with the schedule and look at it and say, okay, how are we going to do this? How am I going to do this? What do we need? What are the essentials for the scene? What needs to be shot?
Right.
I have 4 scenes to do today. How am I going to do this? How am I going to accomplish this? Because one of your jobs as a director is to try your best to bring it in on schedule.
Right.
Because I'm not paying the bills. Somebody else is, and you sign off on a budget, and you're trying your best to meet that and not screw it up.
Well, your movies often have a very strong sense of good and bad, right and wrong, the good guys and the bad guys. And when Drew and Scott's script for Pro-Life came to you, it had a very kind of good guy, bad guy set to it. And you came in and had them completely change that. Talk a little about that.
Well, it was a movie that took place in an abortion clinic. Mm-hmm. And a young girl has been raped by a demon and she's going to have this child, and her father is an anti-abortionist. And it was so left-wing. Jesus. This is a screed, a tract, you know, it's not fun.
Well, and you made the Ron Perlman character somebody who had a point.
He has a point, and that's the whole purpose of it, is to not paint that character in that kind of light, because in truth, these people who are anti-abortionists, whether I agree with them or not, are not monsters.
They believe what they believe.
Absolutely. Deeply. Deeply believe it. They believe it's murder. Mm-hmm. So if you believe that, you can't allow, why would you allow a murder?
Right.
And that's the problem with the debate we've had in our country about that. Until you start dealing with the realities of human beings. In other words, what are you going through in your life? Is adding a child gonna, what is it gonna do? Until you start experiencing that and getting involved with people's lives, then the debate's gonna stand on either side. It's a big chasm. So anyway, I just tried to moderate it a little bit.
Do you consider yourself a political filmmaker at all?
I have too many things that are at odds with each other to really be consistent. In other words, I'm a person who objects to authority figures, and yet I'm kind of a liberal who likes big government, so it doesn't make any sense. It makes no sense at all.
So you're a libertarian liberal.
Yeah, kind of.
Did having kids change you as a filmmaker?
Absolutely.
In what way?
It always, having kids deepens you.
Tell me how it changed your filmmaking.
Well, I think that some of the joy of In Big Trouble in Little China, the lack of inhibition was because I had a kid. I had a real young kid. Saw the world through his eyes.
So it opened you up?
It did, to a place that I had never been before.
Because I've seen filmmakers become more careful when they have children.
Yeah, that happens. Not with me. Not with me. That was a sort of like you said, opening experience.
Now, you seem to be writing less than you were. It used to be you wrote most of your films. Is that no longer the case?
Well, not necessarily. It depends on if I have a great idea, It's a lot easier to have other people write it. Mm-hmm. And I enjoy it because of different kinds of voices. I think I probably have another script in me somewhere that I like to write.
What would be your dream movie? Would it be a Western? Would it be a horror film? Would it be a thriller?
My true love is cinema itself.
Right.
It's not a project. I love the variety of projects that come along. And I think probably it's the next one. It's always the next one.
Would you still love to make a big Western?
I don't know anymore. I don't
Really?
know. I don't know. Well, they're not big stars like they were then. They were larger-than-life stars that you could get away with in a Western, Eastwood and Wayne, for instance. I don't have a dream project.
Yeah.
I used to. I used to want to do this science fiction novel called Stars My Destination,
Yeah.
which is really fabulous. Or The Demolished Man, which is another novel that's fabulous. I've always wanted to take a crack at Dracula, but it's been done so many times, you know. But, no.
Well, in Cigarette Burns, you said at one point, I just want to pin the audience to the back of their seats.
Did I
When
say
you had
that?
a really gruesome sequence that took
I
place.
gotta shut up. I hate hearing things that I said. None of them are true.
Oh, but that's a great thing, especially in the approach to that scene, because I was a little worried.
The decapitation
The
scene.
decapitation. I was worried that it might be a gratuitous thing. You introduce this character just
Of course
to
it's
slaughter.
gratuitous. It's ridiculous. I remember Clive Barker was very impressed with that scene. And I don't think he's been impressed with everything I've done. But he said, oh, young man, that's good.
To impress Clive with a gruesome scene is pretty good. Yeah. So who are the people that you like to follow? I mean, new or old filmmakers?
I still love to watch Roman Polanski's work to see what he's going to do. I really liked Oliver Twist. I know it was a movie that wasn't given enough attention, but I thought it was really well made.
Yeah.
Really, really well made. I'm primarily watch new directors, see what's going on, what's new, how does it work, you know, what's the approach. That's fun.
Do you watch horror movies today?
Yeah, yeah.
Are you still drawn to them?
Yeah, some are, I want to see what's going on.
And what do you think about sequels? I mean, there have been so many Halloween films.
I can't see them anymore.
Have you seen any of them?
I've tried to watch a couple, I just don't care anymore.
Which brings us to remakes. You've had several remakes. You've had Halloween remade and sequelized the remake. You've had Assault on Precinct 13. You've had The Fog.
And there's more coming.
What's next?
In development right now. Escape from New York and They Live are both in the works. Wow. Well, we'll see if they get made, though.
Well, how do you feel about that?
I'm flattered by it, but I stay away from. I try to stay away from it. I like to be informed of what's going on. Just who are you considering as director and writer? And, but you know, it's their movie. It's a different film, not mine.
And remakes in general, how do you feel about that?
Could be good.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of it's reinvention and just inventing something new, new story. I did like the Dawn of the Dead remake a lot. I thought that was pretty good. And it was the same basic idea and the same essential plot, but they had a lot of nice moments in it.
Well, The Fly, the remake is much better than the original.
See, I'm the only person who disagrees with it.
Oh, really? Tell me.
But I was younger, I'm much older than you were. I saw the original in the theater. And that was stunning to me at the time.
Oh, it's beautiful color photography and widescreen. It's just.
And it's slow as hell, but I thought their story was creepier.
Well, I remember when you and Deborah first saw Rabid, that you were so impressed with Cronenberg as a writer.
And a director. He's really good.
What have you seen of late that
I haven't been watching
excited
movies because I've been working on one. That's when it all stops, you know.
Right.
But yeah, I watch everything that's new.
You've done groundbreaking work with physical makeup effects with The Thing, and now that seems to be a disappearing art. It's being replaced by CG. How do you feel about that?
Computer graphics are a tool that you can use to great benefit. A lot of what's being done looks like an animation, like a cartoon. It's unconvincing. Yeah. But having said that, it can do amazing things, so I'm not against it.
I thought you used CG in a really great, powerful, organic way in Pro-Life with the gunshots. That's the most startling stuff, and it doesn't feel computer generated. You don't expect it. Here, a guy shoots a shotgun and blows away half the head on camera. Tell me how you designed that.
I didn't shoot it that way to begin with.
Really?
I thought, you know what, we got to juice this up a little bit. We had a shot, like, as I remember, it was a bullet hole or something, and I said, let's take his head off. Let's make it look more, let's give this some punch. Because I felt the movie was a little flat.
Mm-hmm. But do you enjoy the process of, oh, this one's going to be really nasty?
I don't think like that. I really don't. Again, it's all, I'm really conservative in terms of movie making. It's just all serves the story. Depends on if it serves the story.
Thanks.
All
I
right,
appreciate you being here.
Cool deal.
Okay. Thanks, John.